Terrans to know what exactly is going on with their medevacs and all of the choices they have. It's very easy for the Terrans to sometimes sneak some buildings around the map and hide them in places where you least expect them. You saw those Banshees flying by overhead. Not a lot of Banshees moving out here from the Terrans, but he is in a bad position. He needs to try to put some pressure back on the Zerg, and this is what he needs to find and destroy. What a great move by the Terran player, using these Banshees to find this expansion and forcing this expansion, just destroying this expansion entirely and forcing it out of the game.
And we can see David Kim continue to pressure into Matthew Cooper's base. We can see them flying overhead. He is going to use this air advantage to the best of his ability. We can see them coming over here headed straight for the infestation pit.
Yeah, he's moving right towards doing the damage he can. You can see there's one Hydra's can play. That's not a lot of forces. Oh, some infested Terrans being laid down by the Infestor. These guys are not that effective in combat, but they do have a rifle that can shoot air, and that's what the Zerg player needs desperately right now. He needs some anti-air. So he uses those infested Terrans as a soft counter to kind of get some forces into play. And here comes some Zerglings and Roaches trying to move out onto the map. They encounter the Banshees. They can't do anything against those Banshees, so they're forced to burrow and hide underground. Oh, and here comes some Nighthawks into play, using these new caster units, these new drone units for the Terrans. He's going to be able to use these to cast a variety of different spells against the Zerg. He's going to be able to create auto turrets anywhere he wants. He's going to be able to use a new ability called Hunter Seeker Missile, which moves very, very slowly, but does a lot of damage if you don't run for it. And you can see the Banshees and the Nighthawks are sort of dancing around in front here, trying to see what kind of advantage they can get over this planet. Oh, there's some Banelings take out a whole bunch of Marines as these Marines try to move up to reinforce their air units.
Now we can see from the back door we do have David Kim moving in a couple of Marauders, a few more Marines, and those Nighthawks are coming back into play. That means that Infestor's probably going to go down in just a few seconds because those Nighthawks are detectors. They can see that Infestor burrow down
so
the ground.
that's a lot of control lost for the Zerg player there. Now he does not have control of the front of the Terran base, and the Terrans are pushing out on the map, sort of doing what they want to do. They're backing up a little bit here, gathering their forces, but the Zerg player has lost a little bit of his board control. He was in absolute dominant control up until now, and it looks like the Terran player is making a little bit of a comeback here with his Nighthawks, his Marauders, and his Marines pushing out of the board, trying to see what kind of damage he can do against this persistent Zerg player.
Now David Kim is moving into the long haul. We can see him building 4 more barracks, bringing them out onto the battlefield. We do see that Matthew Cooper is bringing in these Hydralisks, taking down a few of those Banshees. These Hydralisks are very strong against air units because they do deal 6 bonus damage per spine.
Yeah, they're very, very dangerous, and that's the threat he doesn't want to deal with right now. So he managed to drop one Banshee. Oh, and here's a battle moving in against the Terran player. There's a lot of Zerglings and a lot of Roaches moving in, and you can see the Hunter Seekers moving against the Hydras. Oh, tons and tons of damage against those Hydras as the Nighthawks back up, trying to avoid the worst of the damage. And it looks like the Terran player is going to lose this battle. They did a lot of damage to those Zerg forces in the fight.
So Matt Cooper's moving back up towards the front of the base. He does not want to lose that contain that he had on David Kim. It's very, very important to keep David Kim as contained as possible in his base because Matt Cooper, as we can see, has been falling behind on unit count.
Yeah, he does not have a lot of units right now, and he's even a little bit behind on the resourcing as well. A little bit of an aggressive move by the Zerg player. Yeah, that was not a good move, and he sees it right away and decides to back away. Those Hydras are upgraded. They're moving more faster than they would ordinarily. It gives him an advantage. You can see there's one SCV scouting around the map, managed to take it down, and here comes the last Banshee taken out by the Zerg, as it looks like another battle is about to begin here in the middle of the board.
Now we have a few more Marines and those Nighthawks coming into play. We're going to see some more Hunter Seeker missiles because they are so effective. Here comes one across the map. Oh, it was not good news for that Roach.
Yeah, it took a lot of damage on those Roaches, but still, the Roaches generate so quickly. I'm not sure you got a lot of gains. Here comes another one moving in, and you can see the Roaches don't like it. They're trying to get away. He's not sure if this will block it or not. He burrows and tries to block it. Doesn't work. He takes the hit from the missile, and it looks like the Zergers are dancing around in front of the base here, trying to do what damage they can. And the Hydras, of course, would love to get a shot off at those Nighthawks and take them down. And the Marines, a little too aggressive here, are going to encounter a lot of Roaches, and they're going to encounter a lot of Zerglings.
Ooh, but David Kim is prepared with some backup. He's moving in now 5 Nighthawks into play. We can't see Matt Cooper trying to focus down those Nighthawks. We see a couple more Hunter Seeker missiles. They're able to take down 1 unit each, and they do some splash damage, so it makes the rest of the units much easier for those Marauders and Marines to take out.
What a great use of the Hunter Seeker missile. This is a new ability that just went in a couple of weeks ago. Neither player is quite sure how to deal with it yet. You can see the Terran player is using it very, very effectively, just tearing up this Zerg force again and again and again with these Hunter Seekers. The Zerg player, of course, needs to sort of press the attack. He's trying, but he needs to be able to successfully press the attack so the energy on those Nighthawks doesn't regenerate. The Terran player is getting a lot of bonuses right now because he gives a lot of time to regenerate the energy on those Nighthawks, so he's getting off a lot more Hunter Seekers than ordinarily he could be expected to get.
Now the Terran player, using all of that space that Matthew Cooper is giving him, now has a second expansion in addition to having almost double the amount of workers that Matthew Cooper has.
And you see the Overlord tried to spread creep there in time to prevent the expansion, but he missed it by a little bit, and the command center does go down. It looks like the Terrans are now on the push, moving up towards the Zerg base here. And here come the Zerg with a lot of Hydralisks and a lot of Roaches trying to tear these guys down. You can put down an auto turret, try to do some additional damage here to the Zerg forces, and the Zerg are backing up a little bit, wait for the Banelings to come in. Here come the Banelings in, moving against those Marines that could do just terrible damage to them. And you can see he's using Micro very effectively, feeding one Marine in at a time, slowing them down with auto turrets, really trying to stop the worst of the damage of those Marauders. He does a lot of damage to those Banelings. Takes damage in return, but still great use of Micro by the Terran player. He really reduced the amount of damage he could have taken from those Banelings by very carefully moving his forces and using auto turrets to try to slow those Banelings down.
As all the ground forces fall, we can see that the Nighthawks are moving up into the Zerg base, trying to pressure as much as they can, or possibly just salvage the rest of his units to try and make them last as long as possible, and that Queen is able to take out that Nighthawk.
Yeah, what a great move by the Zerg. And the Zerg looks like, again, they're in command of the situation. Moving up into the base, those bunkers look like those bunkers are empty, and there's really nothing the Terrans can do at this point to defend this base. They're going to have to bring some additional reinforcements. He's using his SCVs to try to defend himself against all of those Zergs. And oh, here come the Terran reinforcements. More Nighthawks, more Marines, and more Marauders to try to defend this expansion and protect it from the Zerg.
Those Hydralisks and those Zerglings are just no match for this force. We see a ton of Nighthawks, we see some Marauders, we see some Marines coming in. Those Marines do have their combat shield research, which means that now instead of having only 45 HP, they have 55 HP. This is huge against Hydralisks and Zerglings.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage for the Terran players. It really gives the Marine a lot of additional use in the late game to get that upgrade, and you can see the Terran players are back in control against all odds. He's got his Marines, he's got his Marauders, he's got his Nighthawks, he can detect burrowed units with his force, he can deal with just about any threat. Ooh, there are some Banelings trying to morph, but he morphed them a little too far to the front, and they're taking damage before they get a chance to come out in the battlefield. You can see they've all been taken out by those Marauders and those Marines, and the Terrans are pressing into the Zerg base. The Zerg player's backing up, trying to sort of buy himself some time, see what he can do to avoid the worst of this attack, trying to give time for his base defenses to tear up that Terran force.
Matt Cooper's trying to use his Hydralisks, his Roaches, his Spine Crawlers to defend his base, but it looks like it's just no match with that combined Nighthawk backup for those Marines and Marauders. We have him moving in. It's looking like Matt Cooper's getting backed up into the corner. Is there anything that he can do to stop this situation?
It looks really bad for the Zerg player. He's backing up. He's trying to buy himself time. You can see the Marauders and Marines are just tearing his force, but here come the drones trying to move it, and there's the GG from Matt Cooper. Good game, he says to David Kim, as the Zerg makes his final stand here at his expansion.
We saw a great game between these two players, saw a ton of Hunter-Seeker missiles. That's a huge congratulations for David Kim. He just made excellent use of that tech that he now has available.
Yeah, and a lot of micro from both players. What a great game of StarCraft 2.
Thanks for watching the StarCraft 2 Battle Report.